Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're swapping out our comfortable office chairs for hard hats and steel-toed boots.
We definitely are.
We are heading to a job site that is loud, it's dusty, chaotic, and well, frankly, it's absolutely breathtaking.
It really is. Usually when we look at architecture, we're looking at the glossy finished product, right? The photos spread where the infinity pool is full and the champagne is on the table. But today, we are hitting pause right in the messy middle of the process.
Exactly. We've got a stack of images here of a hillside villa under construction. And I mean, this isn't just a house. This is a fortress being carved into the side of a mountain.
It is.
We're looking at raw concrete, rusted scaffolding, and just forests of rebar, all set against this blindingly turquoise ocean backdrop.
And that contrast is exactly what makes this so interesting. We're going to dissect the anatomy of this build. So let's adopt two different perspectives today.
Okay.
You can be our eyes on the ground. Think of yourself as the site foreman walking the perimeter.
I love that. I'm checking the logistics, the sweat, the materials. I'm the guy wondering how in the world we get a truck up that hill without the brakes failing.
Right. And I'll take the role of the architect, or maybe the structural engineer, looking at the why behind all that steel and stone.
Big picture.
Because building on a slope like this, it is an engineering nightmare, but, a beautiful one.
Okay, let's unpack this. The first thing that just hits you when you look at these sources, I mean, especially the wider shots, is the location.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at the background, the view is insane. We're talking panoramic blue water, green hills on the other side of the bay, little boats dotted around. It's paradise.
Which explains exactly why the client wants a house there. It's the classic trade-off.
Sure, but then you look down at the ground, it's steep, it's gravelly, it looks like you trip once and you're rolling all the way down to the beach. When I saw the angle of that access road, my stomach actually dropped a little.
That is the fundamental conflict of hillside architecture. The best views are always in the hardest places to build. Right.
If you look at the terrain in the source images, especially where we see that winding dirt track, it's just crushed rock and dirt.
Yeah, it looks like loose shale or something. As the foreman here, I'm just looking at that, thinking about traction.
And that terrain dictates everything we see in the structure. You can't just dig a hole and pour a slab like you would on flatland.
Yeah.
You have to anchor into the mountain. And that's why, if we look at the lower levels in the photos, we see these massive gray concrete walls.
They look like bunker walls. There's one image where you're looking at the side of the foundation, and it's just this towering gray slab. It's rough, too. You can see the lines on it.
And that texture tells a story.
Okay.
That's the impression left by the formwork, the wooden molds they poured the wet concrete into. When they peel the molds away, the grain of the timber is left on the wall. But look closer at those walls. They aren't just holding the house up.
They're holding the earth back.
They are holding the earth back. Those are retaining walls. The hill wants to slide down.
Right, gravity. Exactly. Gravity is the enemy here. And those walls are acting as a dam against all that soil. But there is an invisible force at play called hydrostatic pressure.
Hydrostatic pressure, that sounds serious.
It is. If water from rain builds up in the soil behind that wall, the pressure becomes immense. I mean, it can snap a concrete wall like a cracker.
Yeah.
So even though we can't see it, behind those walls is a whole complex system of gravel and drainage pipes to let the water out.
Speaking of gravity and heavy things, let's talk about that forest I mentioned. There's this one photo that really stood out to me. It's taken from the side, looking along the house, and underneath a big section of it, there are just dozens and dozens of these skinny, rusted metal poles.
Ah, yes, the shoring props, or acro props, as they're often called.
It looks like a metal bamboo forest. It's holding this huge concrete overhang.
This is such a critical moment in the timeline. What you're seeing there is a cantilever.
I can't do it.
The architect has designed a floor or a balcony that just sticks out into the air, probably to maximize that ocean view we talked about. But concrete is heavy. I mean, liquid rock is incredibly heavy.
So those poles are just temporary?
Yes. They are there to catch all that weight while the concrete cures. And curing is the key word. Concrete doesn't just dry like paint.
Right.
It undergoes a chemical reaction to become rock hard. It takes about 28 days to reach its full structural strength.
28 days.
Roughly, yes. So those rusted poles have to stay there holding everything up until the chemistry is finished. Once that slab is strong enough, the internal steel takes over and they can knock those props away.
And then it just floats.
Then the house will look like it's floating, but right now you're seeing the crutches.
It's amazing how cluttered it looks, knowing it's going to be this sleek villa later. I want to zoom in a bit on the materials. It's not just concrete, right? We're seeing a transition.
No, it's a hybrid construction method. Very common.
Yeah, in several photos, I'm seeing your standard gray cinder blocks, masonry units making up the walls. Yeah. But then right on top of them, or mixed in between, are these smooth poured concrete sections. Why mix them? Why not just do all blocks, all poured concrete?
It's a balance of cost, speed, and structural necessity. Blocks are like Lego. They're relatively cheap, easy to transport, which matters on that steep road, and quick to stack up.
So you can lay out the rooms quickly.
You can see the guys have laid out the bedroom walls, the bathrooms, the corridors, all using blocks.
But blocks aren't that strong, are they? I mean, I could take a sledgehammer to a cinder block wall.
On their own, no. They have very little tensile strength. If the earth moves, a stack of blocks just topples over like a Jenga tower. That's where the monolith part comes in.
Is that what I'm seeing at the top of the walls? There's this continuous ribbon of smooth concrete running along the top of all the block walls.
Precisely. That is called a bond beam. Think of it like a belt. You stack your loose blocks, but then you pour this solid reinforced concrete ring around the top. It ties everything together. It turns a bunch of separate walls into one rigid box.
So the blocks are the filler, and the concrete is the frame.
Essentially, yes. And if you look closely at the corners, you'll see vertical columns of poured concrete, too. It's a grid. The blocks are just filling in the gaps in that grid.
I noticed something else embedded in those walls that made me chuckle.
Oh, yeah.
In the middle of all this gray dust and rusted metal, you've got these pristine white PVC pipes sticking straight up out of the concrete. They look almost alien.
The plumbing puzzle.
It really is. It emphasizes the planning involved. From my foreman perspective, that seems so stressful. You have to know exactly where the toilet is going before you've even built the roof.
Oh, absolutely. This is where the architect's drawings meet the harsh reality of the site. Once you pour that concrete, it is there forever.
Right.
You can't just drill a 4-inch hole through reinforced concrete later because you forgot a drain pipe.
So those white pipes are just markers.
They are placeholders for the future, and they have to be tied in place perfectly vertical while guys are pouring heavy sludge all around them. If one gets knocked 3 inches to the left, your sink doesn't fit the cabinet later on.
High-stakes plumbing.
Okay.
I love it. But let's talk about the real MVP of this site. We talked about concrete, we've talked about blocks, but the thing that seems to be everywhere in every single photo is steel.
The invisible strength.
It is everywhere. There's one photo, it's just spectacular. A silhouette shot, you've got the bright sky, and then these 4 or 5 guys on scaffolding, and they were working on this wall that looks like a transparent grid.
Yeah.
Just a cage of metal bars.
They're tying steel.
That's what it's called.
Yes, that grid is the rebar reinforcement for a wall that hasn't been poured yet. And you're right to focus on the workers. That is grueling manual labor.
I bet.
They are taking thick steel bars, placing them in a precise pattern, and then twisting little pieces of wire tight with pliers at every single intersection.
Just to hold it in place for the pour.
Right, so the bars don't move when the concrete hits them.
And looking at the density of it, in some of these columns, there are so many bars packed together. I don't know how the concrete even fits between them. Why so much metal? I thought concrete was the strong part.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Concrete has a superpower and a fatal flaw.
Okay.
Its superpower is compressive strength. You can stack a skyscraper on a concrete block and it won't crush. It loves being squashed.
So it's good at carrying weight.
Right. But its fatal flaw is tensile strength. It hates being stretched or bent. If you grab a concrete beam and try to snap it, it breaks almost immediately. It's brittle.
A house on a hill. It's getting stretched.
Constantly. The wind hitting the roof tries to lift it up. That's tension. The earth settling slightly tries to twist the house. That's tension. An earthquake. Massive tension.
So the steel is there to handle all the stretching.
Exactly. The steel bars are the tendons inside the rock. Steel is incredible at tension. You can pull on it all day and it won't snap. So by burying that steel cage inside the concrete, you create a composite material.
The concrete takes the weight.
And the steel holds it all together so it doesn't crack apart.
It's like a marriage. They cover each other's weaknesses.
It's actually a miraculous marriage, structurally speaking, because there is this fascinating coincidence in physics. Steel and concrete have almost the exact same coefficient of thermal expansion.
Meaning they expand and contract at the same rate?
Yes. If they didn't, if steel expanded twice as fast as concrete when it got hot, the rebar would shatter the concrete from the inside every time the sun came out.
That is a mind-blowing fact.
Modern architecture literally exists because of this thermal coincidence.
I'll never look at a parking garage the same way again. It's all just chemistry and luck.
And a lot of labor, which explains those dowels you see sticking up everywhere.
Yeah, in every shot of a half-finished wall, there are these rusty spikes poking out of the top. They look dangerous.
Those are connection points. You never want a cold join where new concrete just sits on old concrete. Those spikes overlap with the next level steel. It makes the house one continuous skeleton from the footing to the roof.
Speaking of the roof, let's look up. Because while the bottom of this house is all heavy gray stone, the top is this intricate geometric web of wood.
It really changes the feel of the construction, doesn't it?
Completely. In the overhead shots, you look down into the structure and it looked like the rib cage of a whale. You've got these massive wooden rafters, trusses, bracing. It's a lot of lumber.
And it has to be so precise. From your foreman perspective, think about the tolerance levels here. Down below with the concrete, if a wall is a ½ inch off, you can maybe hide it with plaster. But up there, that roof framing is geometry. If those angles are wrong, the roof leaks.
And it looks like they're building a vaulted ceiling. It's not a flat roof, it pitches up high.
That's typical for this kind of climate. You want high ceilings to let hot air rise and steep pitches to shed heavy rain. But look at how the wood meets the concrete.
Yeah, the wood beams are sitting right on top of that concrete bond beam we talked about.
That connection is critical. Remember the wind. In a high coastal storm, the roof acts like a giant airplane wing. It creates lift. It wants to fly away.
I hadn't thought of that.
So those wooden rafters aren't just resting there. They are strapped and bolted down into that concrete ring. The heavy concrete anchors the light wood.
It's cool to see the mix of textures.
Yeah.
The rough gray concrete, the orangish wood of the formwork, and then the treated lumber of the roof. It's a collage.
And amidst all that, there's the equipment, the machines that make this possible.
Oh, for sure. There's a shot where you can see the arm of a big white truck on the right side. Looks like a pump truck or a crane.
On a site this steep, that truck is a lifeline. You can't have guys carrying buckets of wet concrete up ladders.
No way.
Not for this volume. That pump truck has a long boom arm that unfolds and pipes the liquid concrete right up to where they need it, maybe 30 or 40 feet in the air.
It's organized chaos. In one photo, there's a stack of those rusted scaffolding jacks just piled up next to a pallet of fresh blocks. It looks messy, but as a foreman, I see a staging area. That's the next up pile.
It is. Space is the most precious resource on a hillside site. You can't just spread out. You have to play Tetris with the materials.
And that pile of rusted scaffolding.
Yeah.
That is literally the only thing allowing them to work safely at those heights.
Exactly. Look at the workers tying steel in that silhouette shot.
Huh.
They're standing on narrow wooden planks supported by that rusted metal frame.
Yeah, they are 20 feet off the ground with a view of the ocean, just trusting that scaffolding.
Not a bad office view, honestly, but terrifying if you're afraid of heights. It takes a specific kind of nerve.
So we've walked the site, we've climbed from the gravel road, past the massive retaining walls, through the forest of shoring props, watched the guys tying rebar, and ended up under the wooden ribs of the roof.
We've seen the skeleton of the house. We've seen the anatomy.
It's fascinating because in 6 months or a year, this place is going to look completely different.
And that's the tragedy and the beauty of it. Right now, looking at these sources, we see the truth of the building. We see the muscle, the bones, the effort.
But
Soon it gets covered up. They'll apply stucco over those rough concrete walls. They'll put tiles on the slab. They'll put shingles on the roof and drywall on the ceiling.
And the owners will move in. They'll sip their coffee looking at that amazing blue view and probably never think twice about the thousands of pounds of steel hidden inside their walls.
Exactly. They won't see the forest of props or the bond beams. They'll just see a home. But that's why deep dives like this are important. It reminds us that every sleek, finished surface is hiding a massive amount of engineering and labor.
It's like the house has a secret history that only the builders know.
And now us.
And now us. I love that. So here's a thought to leave you with. The next time you walk into a building, your office, a grocery store, a friend's house, take a second to look at the wall.
Don't just look at the paint color. Look deeper.
Right. Try to use your X-ray vision. Imagine the grid of steel bars silently holding hands inside that wall. Imagine the guys twisting those wires in the heat. Imagine the chaotic, noisy process that had to happen just so you could stand there in the quiet.
The silence of a room is earned by the noise of the construction site. A building isn't just an object, it's a frozen process.
A frozen process. I like that. Thanks for taking this tour with us, everyone. Keep looking beneath the surface.
See you next time.